on to Donald Trump. You listened to the whole entire thing.
Mm-hmm.
I gave up after 40 minutes. I want to repeat that. For an acceptance speech, this wasn't a State of the Union, even though it had those vibes. For an acceptance speech, I couldn't last another 30 minutes after 40 minutes.
Well, that's the thing. Why you said you gave up after 40 minutes? It should have been over after 40 minutes.
It should have been over after 30. It should have been over after 30, maybe 35 minutes. We'll give them that. But seriously, you're still talking. And then I was like, all right, it's almost over. I pressed pause, and then I saw that it was 40, and then I still saw that my time clock on the YouTube, it had 27 minutes left. And I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not gonna do this. So I just stopped. I was just like, no, thank you. So unfortunately, I can only speak on the 40 minutes of the speech.
Mm-hmm. Let's hear it.
So anyways, what aside from length, I also noticed he had a weird deliverance.
Mm-hmm.
Very, I don't know. If what's her name that you said has that challenge going on?
The Guilfoyle challenge.
She seemed very McCarthyism. I don't know if you got that vibe. Where like just yelling and just creating an enemy and talking about their enemy.
Yeah.
Donald Trump just seems like a very I don't know, just.
So here's my thing on that. Donald Trump generally isn't a great speaker, but one thing he does do, and especially if you watch his rallies or whatever, he riles up his crowd. He knows how to rile up his base. He knows the right red meat to throw to them to get them going, and he feeds up for that. He definitely feeds up for that. But he's not a great speaker. Teleprompter Trump is perhaps the worst speaker in the entirety of the world. He is so bad at speaking with a teleprompter, which is hilarious because Fox News the previous week was, even after admitting that they thought Biden's speech was good, they wanted to...
Really? They admitted it?
Yeah, but they wanted to qualify that by saying, but he was reading off a teleprompter, and anyone could read off a teleprompter. Donald Trump Jr. came on Fox News and said anyone could read off a teleprompter. And, so it was on and on like that. Well, obviously, not anyone can read off a teleprompter because teleprompter Trump is the worst.
He had this weird monotone speech, kind of like... He reminded me of if anybody has ever watched Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince, which, by the way, is my favorite Harry Potter movie out of all of them. But anyways, there's a where Slughorn, I think is his name, is doing a reading, or he's doing a speech at the funeral of somebody that died or something that died. He talks like this: "We're gonna miss him. And it just reminded me of that. And I was like, why are you talking like that? Like, why are you, my fellow Americans? And it's just like, it's very, like, did you want to put me to sleep?
Yeah, I don't know whether he thought that sounded more presidential, or I don't know what he was going for. But...
I feel like he was putting a little bit of an ominous tone into the air. An ominous, like,
yeah.
If I don't win,
this is a dreary situation.
Exactly. Like this is he was like, let me be serious for a moment. And then it's just kind of like, it was a horrible. I've seen a lot of Donald Trump speeches, and a lot of Donald Trump speeches have been crap, but this is probably his worst speech that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But will it make a difference?
Because it was monotone and it was long. It wasn't just monotone. It wasn't just long. It was both. Yeah.
But will it make a difference? Is the question.
Well, okay. I think the question to expand on that is who is the convention acceptance speech supposed to appeal to, right? Mm-hmm. If the convention acceptance speech is supposed to appeal to your base, to get them enthusiastic or whatever, will it make them more enthusiastic? No, but they are already at 100. One thing you can't say about Trump supporters is that they're not enthusiastic.
They're rabid.
Exactly. So they're already as enthusiastic as they're gonna get. This speech isn't gonna change any of that. Now, if the goal is to reach out to people who haven't decided yet whether they're going to vote for you or not, I think the speech probably had the opposite effect. Just because people would have tuned out. I know for a fact, because I almost tuned out, except for the fact that I was like, I have to finish this. I was like, I've gone this far. I cannot not finish this.
You have a lot more than I do, man. You God bless you, brother. So what was it? I was gonna ask, what was the one thing about his speech that stood out to you the most? Like not the way he delivered it, but like say something he said or something he spoke on. One thing for me, while you marinate that, I did like the fact that not like the fact, but I did notice the fact that he was trying to appeal to his fan base, and he had proof of, hey, I'm doing this, because he had Border Patrol there, right? Mm-hmm. And then, even though he asked the nurses to stand up and first respond, but when I didn't, you know how they had a camera on the Border Patrol, but they didn't have a camera on the first responders, so I didn't even see who they were clapping at. So he was kind of trying to basically say, like, look, these people are the ones that have been affected by this more than I have. I mean, more have been affected by this, and they're here supporting me. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of building on that lie of because my thing is that a few of them said Trump delivered on what he promised.
That was like a through line of the convention, or at least of day 4 of the convention, which is promises made, promises kept. That was the thing. Right. Well, I mean, he said Mexico was going to pay for the wall. So. They didn't. Yeah, I don't know. But promises made, promises kept. That was like a through line of the convention, or at least day 4 of the convention. And you're talking about, you had the Border Patrol and the nurses and all that stuff. And, I was just thinking he came dangerously close to not making it about himself. And then it was like, they're here supporting me. Yeah. I was like, ah. But okay, so your question was, what stood out to me?
Yeah.
There was nothing that he said that particularly stood out to me. What stood out to me was what he didn't say, which is his speech came the day after we found out about that 17-year-old, I think Rittenhouse is his name, that went across state lines to Wisconsin to go defend freedom or whatever, and he shot 3 protesters and killed 2. Is that correct? Didn't talk about it.
I think the reason why he probably didn't talk about that is because that kid was immediately arrested the next day.
No, but not talk about it as far as like, oh, we should protest against that kid, or it's not about that. It's about the fact that you can be against the protests or against the rioting without having it elevate to violence, right? Because as a president, that's your job. Your job is to like say, look, we can disagree on things, but we don't have to kill each other. We don't have to.
But I think that the thing is, though, he probably knows, like, you got to keep this stuff is happening under my presidency vague to be able to still give that to Trump. I mean, to Biden. But on this one, people can instantly be like, no, this literally happened under you're giving us a specific example of something specific that happened under your presidency.
This literally happened under you, and this guy is a known Trump supporter. This guy has been at your rally.
So that's probably they probably are like, let's stay away from him right now because.
But that's almost why you have to address it. You have to show some, some sense of, look.
One thing
I don't agree with those protesters, but they're still Americans, and and
one thing Donald Trump doesn't do is he never takes anything head on.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm just dumb or something.
No, maybe you actually think the presidency should be held at a high standard.
Right. No, but I mean, I'm saying maybe I'm just dumb because I keep thinking that, okay, maybe this time he'll rise to that level, and he just never does.
You're not dumb. You're naive.
Well, yeah, I'm naive. That's what it is.
You're naive. One thing I will talk about is that I did kind of notice that he did a good job at listing why America is great. He listed and he didn't discriminate by not mentioning Democrat. So he was still feeding into this whole nationalism kind of thing that his presidency has been about. You know, he talked about. Did he talk about the founding fathers? I don't remember he talked about the founding fathers, but I remember he talked about. Was it FDR had Wilson or not? Was it Wilson?
What are you talking about?
I'm trying to think. Hold on.
Like, who was president during World War II?
Yeah, thank you. Jesus.
FDR.
Thank you. And that's what I know. And I remember he got the prime minister from, you know, after World War II started or ended or something like that. He had
Churchill.
Churchill. Thank you. Why did I think Woodrow Wilson? Anyways, he had Churchill come over and talk to him, and then he, you know, he mentioned the Lincoln getting rid of ending slavery, and Jefferson did this. He's basically listing like America's greatness, and then he made sure to put himself in at the end of it to talk about how America is great and we're making America great again.
Point of correction, though. So FDR was president during World War II, but I don't think he was alive when World War II ended. So he might have.
It was at the beginning then.
Okay, yeah.
But
yeah.
remember, Churchill did come to America and talk, because they had that photo of them talking, and that's what he was talking about. He was trying to juxtaposition himself with
that I'm in that line
of these people, because then he also does a hard stop. He doesn't go further than.
I don't give him credit for that, because
none of us do.
No. I'm saying for mentioning that or for listing that, because it was a teleprompter speech. You really think he could have riffed that? Like,
no.
Yeah.
I'm saying I'm giving he's getting credit from me in the end of him putting that in to basically juxtaposition himself among those great things, because he also mentioned Lyndon Johnson doing the Civil Rights Act, right? Even though the fact of the matter is, you said that Nazis and on one end, and people fighting for civil rights on that, there's good people on both sides, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's still tone deaf.
Yeah.
But he still completely will spin it and try to put himself involved with all these great acts to basically say his presidency is a continuation of these acts.
Yeah.
All he's doing, no, hell no, he didn't rip that crap. All he's doing is putting himself there so his listeners, his followers will be like, oh, see how great he is. He's in like the line.
FDR. He's like
FDRs and the Johnsons and the Lincolns.
And you know, actually, I won't get to this because this is part of the next section about, you know, the best person for Black people since Lincoln. But all right. So anything further on Trump's speech?
No.
All right. That's a section on what were we talking about? Oh yeah, the individuals.
The whole entire RNC.
The individual speeches at the conventions. All right.